Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Stuff Podcast. My name is David.
My name is James.
I'm Craig Four.
And my name's Alexis.
And this is where we talk all things Star Wars. And I'm trying not to laugh if you're watching us on YouTube. Thank you very much. Leave a comment,
Hey.
hit the like button, subscribe. Yeah, so there's a
What are
lot
we
to
going to chew on
unpack.
today, David?
Oh no, you did not.
So yeah, I attended the superhero car show in Comic-Con. It happened. I attended all 4 days. And I was just telling everyone before we started recording, I'm exhausted. It was a lot, but I was able to get in as press.
Look at you.
So, yeah, got in there. It was a very, very pleasant fan experience due to these press badges. I got to park in a special parking lot. I got to sit at the front of every panel. I got access to places that I probably shouldn't have been given access to.
The women's room?
All except for one spot, I think. And I'm not quite sure if that one spot that was revealed actually existed because, as someone told me on the floor, if there's no photo or video of it, it didn't exist. So I don't know, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. So, like I said, I attended the Thomas J. Henry Superhero Car Show in Comic-Con, and those were the top talent. Of course, Ewan McGregor, Simu Liu, Dave Bautista, Haley Atwell, Giancarlo Esposito, of course, Stephen Amell, and Hulk Hogan. I think I saw Hulk Hogan the maybe the most out of anyone. I kept on passing him every time I would go through the lines in the photo op area.
And you were stalking him.
And he had a consistent line of people. He was always looking down and signing and talking. I never saw him once look up. Unfortunately, I only saw Giancarlo once while I was exiting. I saw him signing. It was very interesting, though, the fact that it wasn't a traditional like autograph center because they had Ewan, Haley Atwell, and Simu in their own kind of cordon off area where they had a curtain in front of them so you can actually see them sign. So it was kind of one of those things like, are they really actually there? And then the photos on the internet started popping up with the photo ops, and it was really cool to have it in San Antonio. I live about 30 minutes away. It was nice not to have to fly to California or Florida or New York or Chicago. I just drove to it. Like I said, parked in the special parking area, and it seems like the press pass pretty much got me almost total access. So yeah, I took a little some pictures here. The con's going to happen next year again, I found out. And Bob Wills, of course, we had him on the podcast where we spoke to him the entire podcast. They had a whole section of old school arcade pinball machines. You can see there Ghostbusters, contemporary pinball machines. I played the Mandalorian pinball machine for a while. And of course, it is also a car show. So they had a lot of classic cars, a lot of newer cars, the Adam West Batmobile. You can see there the Michael Keaton Batmobile. You can see my buddy Carl in the background. And of course, at every major Comic-Con that happens, toy fair, convention, the 501st, which I am a part of, usually has a presence. And we had a very big presence, a huge turnout. I saw people there that I hadn't seen in years. And we have this really nice setup that we do. Andrew in the 501st, he custom built Ewoks, and the way they're set up and the way they disassemble is pretty cool. And the arms are movable. I think the fingers are movable too. And he also made the babies. So this picture I'm about to put up, look in the bottom corners and you'll see the babies because you'll miss them otherwise. So I wasn't in my armor, but I took a picture. I took a photo op with the Ewoks. Here it is.
Oh,
Did they blink?
No, they don't blink, but I think he's attempting to rectify that situation. So that's my good buddy Chris in the Stormtrooper.
So he wants to be like George Lucas, huh?
I want to cuddle the babies. They're so cute.
It's really, really cute. They look pretty good too. The Ewok. I mean,
oh yeah, man. They're spot on. They're really good. And you notice the Ewok on the right-hand side is wearing a Stormtrooper belt.
I saw that.
Little souvenir after he crushed one of their skulls.
Yeah, and this photo op's always a popular one when the 501st brings it to a con. It's always busy, especially on Saturday. That was the big day. Lots of people, but luckily the air conditioning didn't give out. It was over 100 degrees here in San Antonio. And as soon as you got into the building, luckily I was press. I parked very close. I didn't sweat before I got in there. I was on the verge, but I got in. I just waved my press badge and they let me in. And I did kit out and I put on my A New Hope TIE pilot. And of course, Carl was there. He was with me the first 3 days. And he's got an amazing scout trooper that looks great on him. Here's a picture of us trooping together in front of the 501st booth. And of course, he has the satchel that Jason Sudeikis wore when he was punching Grogu in the satchel. So every now and then he would like give it a little punch and see if anyone saw.
Still remember first time I saw it, I'm like, you're going to die and no one will cry about it.
Yeah, and there was a lot of celebrities, old, new, and there was one celebrity that showed up that, of course, a lot of people aren't. I thought everyone knew this guy, and I kept on saying, "Hey, I got a picture with this guy," and they're like, "Who? What? Say the name again." And I thought he was a whole lot more famous than I guess he actually is. But if you watch the NFL on Fox, like 10 years ago, he was like the main like comedian, but he's been on Mad TV. I think he's been in
Ari
movies.
Spears?
What's that?
Was it Ari Spears or
he was after Ari Spears, I believe.
Put up the picture. Let's see if any of us recognize him.
Frank Caliendo.
Yep.
I was gonna say it has to
Frank Caliendo was there as a fan. I went up to him and I said, "Hey, you got a photo op or an autograph booth or something?" He's like, No, let's just take it here." And then I put the pieces together. He was with his family, and he was like, "Do you know where the Batista photo op is?"
Oh, and everyone at home, take a shot. There's a Tanjiro in the background.
That's pretty cool though. Did he do any voices for you?
No. He was looking for Batista's photo op. So
that's all
he was like walking around like frantically and stuff. And I'm like, aren't you just famous enough just to like get the thing done? I don't know. But he's hilarious. He's a lot like Josh Robert Thompson, who we've had on the podcast. He does so many excellent voices. He does George Bush. He does John Madden. He does Jim Rome. He used to do John Gruden a lot, but of course he got into trouble. But and I got to give a big shout out, of course, to Bob Wills. He did the podcast, and I think him doing the podcast enabled me to get the press badges because when I signed up to get the press badges, there was a field asking, how have we advertised for the car show and Comic-Con? And I just simply put the YouTube link for the podcast, and Bob Wills' face pops up right away.
Nice.
So I think that's how I got him. And I was working with a woman by the name of Clarissa Castaneda, and she was awesome too. She was a young lady, and she immediately gave me her cell phone. She's like, "Okay, text me with whatever you need." I'm like, "Okay, I'll do that." She had our badges in her backpack. She gave them to us. We didn't have to go to the front.
Wow.
And yeah, she was really cool. And it seemed like she had that type of personality where she could handle like a lot of stuff. She was dealing with another podcast. She was dealing with us. She got our badges. She was going to walk us to the front, but then remembered she had our badges. And she's like, "Yeah, just text me." And she was gone. I was like, "Okay, well, let's see what happens." So I texted her that first day.
That level.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell that her mind was churning, and then she was zooming in and out of places. And so I texted her. I said, "Hey, can I get an interview with someone that's here?" The first day, Ewan wasn't there. Giancarlo wasn't there. It was only Spencer. So I texted her. She said, "Yes, get over here right now." And me and Carl like zoomed right over there. That morning, our mics and our pod track to do an on-set interview came in through Amazon. And we were able to do the interview. And I loaded it up on Patreon. I loaded it up on our YouTube page. But I got to meet Spencer Wilding. Here's a picture of us. I spoke to him about 5 minutes, and she said it had to be brief. It was towards the end of the day, and yeah, he's 6'7", and I'm 5'11". So yeah, he's a pretty big dude. And the funny thing was, I think it was just protocol for people to be there just in case. I don't know. I mean, I'm just kind of a random podcaster in case something happens. But the guy's like a professional kickboxer, world champion in boxing. So I think he was pretty safe. So Carl was holding the camera and I was doing the interview. And he was a pretty nice guy. He answered all my questions, and he was pretty charismatic. And he did a panel as well. And I got to sit all the way up at the front, and it was he was pretty entertaining. I didn't realize that he's had a 20-year-long career in film, and he started mentioning some of the stuff he's done, and he brought up the fact that he was League of Shadows member #1, and he was the one that burnt down Wayne Manor in Batman Begins, I believe. So you see his face, and of course you see him in Guardians of the Galaxy where he's wearing the headphones. Also, he was in Wrath of the Titans, but he's done a lot of stuff. And the funny thing is, Kevin, the moderator, who I hung out with a little bit, he does frequent other podcasts as well. He might end up doing our podcast, but I spoke to him just about every single day I was there. And he was actually trying to get like scoops and stuff from all the celebrities. And he knew that Spencer Wilding was going to be in the Toxic Avenger. And if you're familiar with that show or the cartoon, there's a really tall guy. He's basically the main character of that show. And I mean, I had that image in my head and I was looking at Spencer. I was like, wait a minute. I think he might actually play like the main guy, but he couldn't say anything. He said he couldn't say anything about the project at all. And right before the interview, Kevin was like, you need to ask him about the Toxic Avenger. So I asked him in the interview. So if you see the interview, nothing related to Star Wars, but I mean, it was funny. But he was just like super composed, and he gave like a company line, and he said, yeah, I can't talk about that. And I was like, yeah, it was a joke, man. But don't kick me in the face. So yeah, that went off great. After that, of course, I tried to get more interviews. I texted Clarissa every single day. She gave me a response. It might happen, it might not happen for interviews, but eventually towards the end of the day, photo op times are getting pushed back, autograph times are getting pushed back, and it always got to the point where the talent had to pretty much leave. And I wasn't able to get any more interviews, but I was able to get a photo op with Ewan right at the last second. I joined the last group, and in Anaheim, when I got the photo op, they basically almost strip you naked, and
which you appreciated, of course.
But in San Antonio,
you were all
I was fully clothed. I had my cell phone on me, and I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna turn on my voice memo app and just leave it running. So I just threw it in my pocket, and I recorded the whole conversation. I'll put that up on Patreon. It was very short, very brief. It was essentially the same conversation I had in Anaheim. I said, hey, my name's David. I'm with the Star Wars Stuff Podcast. He said, oh, hey, nice. And my sister-in-law was with me. She's a big fan too. And he talked to her, and we took the photo. And I asked him, hey, Ewan, come on the podcast, okay? And he's like, oh, yeah, sure. So we have a full commitment from Ewan McGregor now.
Yes, he said yes.
Podcast.
So he's ready.
Yes.
Did he not recognize you from?
Can we hear security being called at the end of the recording?
Well, security did grab me, actually. They pulled me out because they saw me trying to have a conversation with Ewan. So they were like, this way, sir. And I was like, yeah, I got my podcast name on my shirt. I probably need to leave and be able to come back to these things. So he did a panel with Rupert Friend, and it was held in one of the oldest venues in San Antonio, the Freeman Coliseum.
Nice.
And apparently Elvis played there. Willie Nelson's played there, of course. So many bands, but we got there early. I got to sit in front, and what do you know? Spencer Wilding shows up, and my sister-in-law took a picture of him. She was trying to sneak a photo of him, and then he turns around and he saw what was happening, and then he gave the thumbs up, and he was drinking a Coke. And
It's like, yeah, I think that sneak operation failed miserably, judging by his reaction.
Let's just see look how big the soda can is in his hand. Like he's a big, I mean, like this guy is huge. Just want to throw that out there.
yeah,
Anyway.
he played Darth Vader in Rogue One, so yeah, he was a pretty big guy.
I hate to say it, just looking at that, I probably would have assumed at first that was one of those mini Coke cans.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, he was a pretty big guy.
So how was the Ewan panel? How did that one go?
So I told you and Colin there was a slight chance of me being up on stage with Ewan to make him an honorary member of the 501st. So I wasn't notified at all, but 501st members marched on stage. And I was like, okay, they're going to do it. Cool. I'm doing my podcast thing. They'll do the 501st thing. And they simply stood up there on the right side. And the Saber Guild people who did kind of a little demo for us, they were on stage fighting each other. There's a picture there of them. And they did a really good job. They had someone actually reading from one of the books from The Last Jedi, Craig's favorite film. And
the fact that so many of them have color coordinated lightsabers is too freaking cute.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I met most of them afterwards, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, they did a little presentation. 501st showed up, Saber Guild showed up, and the moderator showed up, and right away, ladies and gentlemen, Ewan McGregor and Rupert Friend, they got on stage. He's right in front of me. There was a moment where he looked right at me, like I could tell. I swear it happened. He looked right into my eyes and he smiled.
And then he's security.
Oh, see, yeah, there he is right there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's looking right at me. And his shirt is epic. He's got Alec Guinness from A New Hope, and it says hello there. The first words uttered by Alec Guinness. And
he's still so gorgeous.
And I filled the entire panel. Unfortunately, the app malfunctioned on my phone, and my phone, I think, overheated. It stopped recording. But my sister-in-law, who took the picture with me, she recorded the whole thing, so she's going to send me those files. And, of course, like I said, we took the photo op together, and here we are. And yeah, I got to return the favor and put my hand on Ewan's shoulder like he did for me in Anaheim.
What's that tattooed on his arm?
It looks like it's a scarf, and then it says scarf.
I get the feeling there's a private joke there that we're not privy to.
Probably.
That's
so yeah, I mean, it's almost like second nature running into Ewan McGregor now for me.
You guys are probably like best friends already.
I can't believe I've seen him so many times now. I got his autograph. I did a photo op, and then he walked out randomly on stage at Star Wars Celebration. And then now in San Antonio, I saw him on stage again, and then I did the photo op with him, and it was pretty cool to hear him talk. And like I said, I recorded the panel for Spencer Wilding, and I recorded the entire panel, or my sister-in-law has the entire video. I have pieces of it on my phone, but I'll upload that to Patreon first, and then I'll share it on our YouTube page.
Nice.
And yeah, it was fantastic. A fantastic experience.
About a season 2 of Kenobi.
Yes. So the moderator, Kevin, straight out asked him without straight out asking him, I know you can't talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi season 2, or can you? And he said, truthfully, I'm thinking that there is going to be something, but no one has approached me yet. And of course, we talked about on the podcast that the streaming numbers are just massive for that show.
Probably worried he's about, if he says anything, he's going to jinx it, and we're going to get a Warner Brothers over on Disney.
Jeez.
Yeah, don't get me started on that.
You know, I mean, I think that maybe they're just trying to figure out that they can do a story that warrants a second season. Because it's tough, you know. You think of this character looking over Luke, and you know he couldn't fight Vader again.
Yeah, it's like, so what can you do with the second season? I mean, you'd have to have him interact with more characters from like Rebels or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think there's a way to do it. I mean, you don't have to
David?
have them interact. You can have parallel storylines so we can just kind of keep up with the ongoing timeline up until A New Hope. I think you can do that.
It's tough.
I will say though, it would be really funny though. It's like, hey, someone's in trouble. He's like, I got this. Luke, cool. All right, I'll be back. And then he goes and does another adventure. You know what I mean? It just seems it would just be the kind of the plot of the first season, minus Leia, but he would have to go somewhere to do something else. Leave Tatooine, leave Luke behind. And it's cool, but that's really kind of the only thing that Obi-Wan Kenobi could do in a season 2, which, if I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong, but my little brain thinking that's kind of
I think he could do a whole lot of stuff. Honestly, I don't think it's even that hard to do a season 2.
It's not that it's hard, it's that can you make it epic?
Yeah. Can you have it live up to what we got in the first season?
Bring Liam Neeson back. Bring in Natalie Portman for flashbacks and nightmares and dreams for Vader, and have them both in a parallel like storyline. They don't have to meet up. I mean,
I mean,
you could do a Vader show and still have Obi-Wan in it, and they just never meet, and we just see his story, his continued story. It's that easy, and it's gonna happen.
I wouldn't mind saying I won't say no to more Hayden Christensen if we get a season 2. He showed that I have never held the problems with the prequels against Hayden Christensen. If you've seen him in other movies, he's a good actor.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
I got it.
There were a couple of scenes where he's kind of like, you know what I mean? It's a little tough. But it's also.
But is it his fault? I mean, look at some of the dialogue that Samuel L. Jackson as Mace Windu had to deliver, and how bad some of that was. It's like you don't hold that against Samuel L. Jackson. He's one of the greatest actors we have. But you hear some of the dialogue he says, like a Sith Lord. It's like no one is going to sell that.
I like how he says Lord.
Yeah.
Well, I think I just figured out how to do a season 2 or how to do a Darth Vader series. You do it just like you did the Book of Boba Fett. You have a Darth Vader 4-episode arc. Episode 5 and 6 switches completely to Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's amazing. And then the last episode is back to Darth Vader, and it's like, oh, okay, here we go. That's how you do it.
So Obi-Wan season 2 is basically the Book of Darth Vader.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's gonna work.
I could see it.
But no, I David has the idea that it could work. I'm gonna trust that David's idea could actually become something. So we're gonna say, yeah, it could work. But for me personally, I don't think it would. They could, I don't know, make it as epic as the first season was. That's just me though.
Yeah,
it could be way more epic. I think
how
that last moment.
More
they're not probably gonna top that. I mean, Vader can continue hunting Jedi.
Yeah, but we're talking
continue.
But we need something with Kenobi. We need a cool finale.
Right.
With
Kenobi's going to be learning to become a Force ghost with Liam Neeson, and whatever adventure happens, and I mean,
that shows up.
Yeah, that's a possibility. There's other.
It'd be cool if Yoda went to Dagobah to see Yoda.
Yeah, if Obi-Wan,
yeah. They got the puppet.
If they were training together on Dagobah, that'd be pretty sick. And maybe something cool happens with the cave.
It writes itself, Craig. I mean, really.
You just yeah.
I was going to say, it is true that Obi-Wan never did do the trials. He never did the test of the spirit. He was given an honorary graduation for killing Darth Maul.
I just want to see Obi-Wan and Yoda talking again. I think, and arguing about Luke and Leia, I think would be some of the best dialogue ever.
Yeah, how they came to the decision to go with Luke instead of pursuing Leia.
I know it's not canon, but from a certain point of view of the books, there is the dialogue where Obi-Wan is telling Yoda, I'm going to bring you an apprentice, and Yoda is like, I will be honored to train her, and he's like, no, not her, the boy, and he's like, no, I'm not going to train the boy. He goes, the boy, he's not ready. She's ready.
Or the boy's too like his father.
And also he said that, and so that type of dialogue in a season 2 of Kenobi, I think a lot of people would be really surprised to hear. And I that kind of, I don't know. Now that Craig, it should happen. That's it. That's season 2 right there. Just the adventures of Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Qui-Gon, the Force Ghost.
I think it's just one of those things where it's like you got to be careful not to do too much, because Obi-Wan's story is kind of like written,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, true.
don't want to overdo it. That it's like so much Obi-Wan that it's like, you know what I mean? It kind of takes away from him being in hiding, and you know what I mean? So if they could do a really good story, I'd be behind it. But I just don't want them to overdo it.
Yeah,
David disagrees.
that's reasonable.
I'm
Yeah.
just
But yeah, I wanted to go back to this comment from Metallica 29. So this person said they saw me in the front row at Ewan's Q&A. What a great
Oh,
time!
nice.
You should have approached me. I mean, I had merch on me. I had coins and pins.
Oh, that's
But
pretty cool.
they bring up a real kind of funny part. So they didn't have, well, they had an open mic set up for Spencer Wilding, but they also passed out question cards so you could write a question for Spencer and Ewan and Rupert. So the first panel that I went to was Spencer's, and I wrote 2 questions, and the moderator basically made 6 questions out of it, and they all got answered. And I was like, okay, cool. That's a cool experience. I'll do that for Ewan and Rupert. So one of the things that I kind of came up with that I wanted to know what the answer was, because Ewan hadn't addressed it yet. He was asked a question by Jimmy Kimmel what he did for May 4th during the filming of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And he said, oh, actually, we did something really special, but I can't talk about it until after the show airs. So that was my question. What did he do? What did he see during the filming of Obi-Wan Kenobi on May 4th? So Kevin, the moderator, asked him the question, and Ewan's like, I don't know what you're talking about. It wasn't me. So Kevin looks at me in the front row, and he's like, dude. And he's like, okay, whatever with that question. And he moved on. And I was like, Ewan just, I mean, he just drew a blank, you know. But if you go out, the YouTube video is out there where he talks about his special May 4th. So it's out there. It was a legitimate question. I just want to defend myself.
Say,
yeah.
Either he forgot or he probably just forgot, right?
I think he forgot.
But see, I think what happened was he filmed the very first scene with his daughter in Obi-Wan Kenobi. That was the special thing that happened. That's just my kind of educated guess. So
Ewan made me mad right now.
We're gonna
so Metallica 29 was saying that was hilarious, and it got a big laugh from everyone because I like stumped them, you know, and the moderator had to like pivot away from that question. It was just like a dead on arrival type of question and answer. But
you should post that video of him talking about that.
Yeah.
And like put it on Twitter, Facebook, and be like, hey, this is what I was talking about. I'm not crazy, okay? Like,
yeah, I had total confidence in that question.
Oh,
and
sure.
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna post the question being asked to Ewan, and then post the clip from Kimmel, and then put it up on our TikTok and all the other stuff.
There it is. Perfect.
Yeah. But yeah, Metallica 29. You should have come up to me. But yeah, there's so many people there.
Nice.
And yeah, it was a glorious time, and just to see him again in person. And he did talk about a lot of other things as well. And
Moulin Rouge.
Well, the moderator said, "Hey, Ewan, have you ever been in a musical?" And then he's like, "Wait a minute." He's like, "Yeah, other than Moulin Rouge."
Oh wow,
he's been in several musicals.
But yeah, he said he would like to be in a musical if possible. Another musical. Him and Rupert Friend both said they're up for doing more stuff in the musical genre.
Can we request next musical no French accent?
Oh yeah, that's right, Beauty and the Beast. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
wasn't that bad? He played Lumiere. Right?
Yeah. I remember hearing him sing, and it was like, okay, I know Ewan can sing because, you know, I was in high school when. I'm sorry, are we being interrupted? Oh, But yeah, I remember listening to him sing as Lumiere. I'm like, a Scotsman doing a French accent. Who thought this was a good idea?
Well, he was married to a French woman for like 20 years. So he
Yeah, and
thought
I'm
he could
married to
pull
a
it off.
Romanian, and I don't sound anything like a Romanian. So there's your, you know.
Really, I thought you were Romanian with your accent.
Speaking of Ewan McGregor's current wife, she's in Ahsoka. Is that correct? She's
Yes, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. He said her name for the first time in a panel / interview setting. So that was kind of interesting. And
I think they're really serious about this. I'm just trying.
yeah, I always thought maybe I should congratulate him on his wedding and his new baby with Mary Elizabeth Winstead, but it always slips my mind because just to be in the presence of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, yeah.
So yeah, that was my last 4 days. It was fun. It was awesome. I'm gonna go back again. We might have a booth next time. We might fly James down. Craig might fly down, and we can have a nice little contingent of. And Alexis, you're invited, but of course, I don't think you like Texas as much. But
I don't mind Texas. I mean, I did do the Greater Austin Comic Con in Texas, and that is actually one of our best shows. I love working that event. I cannot talk highly enough about it.
Okay.
Plus, I got to watch Billy D. Williams' interview on the big screen while I was working down there.
Okay, and that was recently, right?
Yeah, that
okay.
was last month.
Okay, yeah, you were pretty close to me then. I was on the verge of going to that one, but I didn't. But
yeah, weekend in Austin and a week in Houston.
Nice.
Can we talk about Andor getting pushed back?
If we were a week ago, Craig, yes, we could, but we already covered that. So
Well,
yeah,
moving on. No, what's your thoughts on that, Craig?
Oh, here we go.
What, are they still working on the show? Is that
no? The show's complete. It's done. They're doing it because of scheduling. Because you have Rings of Power coming out, you got She-Hulk coming out, you got House of Dragons coming out. So now they've actually moved She-Hulk to a Thursday premiere. So you'll have an Andor release, a She-Hulk release, a House of Dragons release, and Rings of Power release.
That's pretty.
So they'll all be on different nights.
That's crazy.
The nerds' heads are gonna explode.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine? We've reached a point where the streaming, like, they have to schedule them now. Because back in the day, you could just release whatever on whatever date, and you were fine.
But now now it's like, nope, we can't release that. That's the same night as Sandman, and we don't want. I haven't watched Sandman yet. I have to watch it. I've got to do a show on it.
I think it's crazy that streaming has gotten this far that they have to actually say on this date this is coming out because the next day this is coming out. So
wow.
It's just like being back like in the old days of
of
broadcast, which is still going on, but you still have to be careful.
devolving.
It's like, do we want to put this show up against this show, or do we want to put it up against this show?
And if you go to Friday night, it's over. Right, that was the unwritten rule, right? Friday night, you couldn't compete with
Friday night, yeah, but Friday night is golden for streamers.
Yes,
If you can get a Friday night streaming release, that's what you want. If you got a Friday broadcast release, you were dead in the water.
Yep, you are dead in the water. Yep. I know there's a lot of younger people listening to us going like, "What are they talking about?" I'm just kidding.
So, all right.
Yeah, I know we're old.
We're gonna get 12 episodes this year. Is that?
Yes, that 12 episodes will be one full continuous storyline year for Andor. The next season will be every 3 episodes will be a year leading up to the events of Rogue One.
Okay. So that's interesting. So by the time this show ends, we'll be, I would guess, pretty close to seeing Mando season 3.
The show is going to end the week of Thanksgiving for Andor, I believe.
Oh, what?
And
Bad Batch supposed to be in the summer?
Bad Batch is supposed to drop September 28th.
There's a show I can't believe got picked up again.
You didn't like?
No, not that I didn't like it. I just didn't think it had a big enough following or response to warrant a second season.
At Celebration, the panel was full of people.
Okay. I've
Lots
been
of fans.
wrong about other stuff before.
People were screaming when they dropped that trailer.
Yeah.
I was like,
I will say at the Comic-Con scene, I would say that has had the least amount of impact compared to other Star Wars properties.
Okay, and it is surprising that it's still being kept at the September 28th release date.
Yes.
They should probably push that to December.
Don't give them
Agreed.
ideas, David. We want more, not
Yeah, I want to be able to watch Andor and then go and watch, Bad Batch like right away. Like that's what I want. But it is kind of crazy to think that Bad Batch is going to finish the year for Lucasfilm pretty much because there's nothing after Bad Batch, and then we're gonna have that kind of like
There is something
area.
after Bad Batch.
Yeah, but I'm saying not until February, and then we get
Okay.
Mando.
what
So
Mandalorian.
Yep, Mandalorian season 3 is right
February.
after Bad Batch.
They pushed it to February.
It was always February.
Oh,
It's been February for a while, I should say.
it was been February since before Celebration.
We're probably going to get some more announcements here within the next month. Don't forget, second weekend of September is the D23 Expo, and they always do
Right.
big
Right.
announcements for all their properties then.
I really hope Kathleen Kennedy comes out and she's like, okay, so this didn't work, but this is also going to work behind us. Like, hopefully she addresses Taika's movie. Hopefully we finally get what's happening with that one, and then release dates for the Acolyte. Probably we'll get that date at least, and maybe like one of those. What am I trying to say? Like the concept art, something just like, hey, look at this. But yeah, I'm more looking forward to what she's gonna say about if Taika Waititi's movie, like when that's gonna be happening.
I think he's still in the early writing stages of that.
Yeah, but he's supposed to, according to things, that thing's supposed to come out the end of next year, the end of 2023.
Speaking of concept art, not exactly Star Wars related, but still Disney related, such to Marvel. Did you guys see the concept art for MODOK?
Yeah, I saw it.
I thought
it
it
was
was
weird.
No,
Yeah, fans are not reacting well to that.
I thought it was like proven to be fake, though. Was it not that it was fan art?
If it's fake, I haven't seen a confirmation. From what I've heard, though, the idea is that this character is going to be wearing a mask when they first encounter him in the quantum
Oh, okay.
realm.
If he has a mask on, then they
So,
reveal an actual fleshy face.
The rumor is that he's going to take the mask off and we're going to recognize who's playing him. To which I said, as long as Patton Oswalt's voice doesn't come out of that thing, I'm fine.
Yeah, because I think it's technically supposed to be like Corey Stoll, right?
That is the rumor I've been
Yeah.
hearing. That's the rumor.
Yeah.
And considering how Stoll's character really got the shaft, I would say, from the first anime movie, because they just gave us another version of Ironmonger with that, I would be more than happy to have him take over as MODOK.
Well, moving on to Andor news. I know we just spoke a little bit about it. Apparently, since Craig mentioned the pushback to September 21st, and we kind of explained why they probably did that. Press, media who have the ability to get screeners have gotten screeners. So there's people out there in the world walking the planet that have seen the first 4 episodes of Andor. And according to Bespin Bulletin, they gave a lengthy review here, and I'll read some of it here. On bestofbulletin.com, they report, and these are kind of light spoilers. I mean, this is the opinion of a media member, so I guess take it with a grain of salt. I mean, it could be not legit, but according to the website, they've talked about other shows that they've gotten screeners for, and they've come to fruition. So something called Reset Era, the user is Ramallah, took to the forum to give their brief thoughts on the first 4 episodes of the upcoming Rogue One spinoff series. The user has previously shared early reactions to TV shows in the past, so they have credit. So the person said, I've seen the first 4 episodes, and it's the most serious grounded thing Star Wars has ever done to this person. It feels more like an English-made espionage thriller than Star Wars. It is totally unconcerned with giving you fan service moments, and instead wants you to delve into what it's like for the bit players in the universe to wake up every morning and go about their day. This is not a space opera. It's more space drama. It's slow, deliberate, complex for Star Wars, and asks the viewers to do some work. It actually humanizes roles that are traditionally cartoon evil in the Star Wars universe. It's it's attempting to tell a grown-up story, and I think a lot of fans are going to hate it. Both Gilroy's presence is all over the thing. It's got that cinema verite vibe that the core Bourne movies have going for them. Puts you in the world like never before. Whether the world can hold up to that level of scrutiny is up for debate, but it is fascinating. The user also added, in response to the comment that they believe a 3-episode premiere for the series was needed, as the 3 episodes served an entire story arc and compared it to a movie. Further on in the thread, the user praised the writing as the heroes can act like villains and vice versa, which I love that. On the subject of characters, the user referred to the titular character as the least interesting when compared to Mon Mothma and Stellan Skarsgård's Luthen Rail.
I really like the actor in what was that show that he was in, the miniseries Chernobyl. I really liked him a lot in Chernobyl. Did you guys see Chernobyl?
I didn't, but I know it's like critically
You
hailed.
I couldn't watch it because of the scene with the dogs.
It was incredible, and he was great in it. So,
yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah, so Luthen and Mon Mothma are definitely the Rebel MVPs. Andor is probably the least interesting character, of course, because it's like his origin story. But then they've got a long way to go to get them into the meeting in Rogue One. There's much more interesting characterization going on the Imperial side of things. And let me tell you, it is fascinating to me. I kind of wish we got a whole show about that. I personally find users' comments unsurprising given what I've personally heard on the series over recent weeks, months, and years, but it's still exciting to hear that the series is shaping up to be what I expected and hope it would be. And hearing that the series has a slow pace and complex characters and storytelling, and that it's not concerned with fan service moments is great. This is just a website talking about it, but yeah, this is pretty much, I think, exactly what we were kind of expecting. So
Yes.
it seems like it's right on.
I'm excited for Andor. I know a lot of people aren't for whatever reason. For me, I've always kind of been excited about it.
Yeah, I think after that last trailer, the momentum is surely building with fans, and there's a lot of goodwill towards Andor, and everyone's kind of back in the mode of, okay, well, we're going to get something huge, and it seems like people have jumped and it's now on everyone's radar that, okay, we're going to get a big Star Wars thing. Looks like they invested a lot of money. Gilroy has talked about not using the volume, going old school, going on location. It looks great in the trailer, and we're going to get something that's probably going to go down. And it's funny that, I mean, Rogue One is considered widely as the best thing that Disney has done, and now it looks like we're going to get Rogue One this series. So
what was really interesting was he says I know a lot of Star Wars fans are not going to like it.
Right.
And I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, so is it because they're not going to get the fan service? Is it because all those people online going like, Kenobi was advertised as Anakin and Obi-Wan, and we haven't got any of that this whole show, and people hated it because it wasn't the fan service. So I personally am hoping that this is 100% correct, that it's no fan service, that we're literally just getting a new story, new characters, and we're just going to go. And from the trailers and from all of this, from this review, I think we're going to get something quite special with Star Wars, something we haven't really seen with Star Wars. And that makes me really excited.
Yeah, I like where they're doing this in the timeline. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's really cool to go deeper into like the Empire. And so I'm excited to see where they go with it. I mean, it sounds like an interesting take, and I'm certainly going to give it a chance. It's so odd to me, like the negativity towards so much of Star Wars stuff. I mean,
not the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. No, that makes sense to me. The negativity, that
he goes, that's the only thing that makes sense is how much people do not like this podcast.
But like Obi-Wan, people were complaining about Obi-Wan, and I just thought it was a really solid show.
Yeah, I liked it. I saw somebody quote the other day. They were like, I didn't like that Obi-Wan was, he ran away from Darth Vader. Why would he run away from Darth Vader? And I was like, did you watch?
Because they're both alive in episode 4.
I was like, Yeah, but no, they meant like at the
in
beginning.
the first duel.
Yeah, when they first meet each other, they were like, "I can't believe he ran," and I'm like, "Did you watch the rest of the show, or do you understand? He starts this way, and then he's gonna grow, and then
But he
become."
also ran away because he was trying to distract them from Leia, so Leia could get away.
Exactly, but people were complaining.
They didn't catch that.
Kenobi would never do that.
But
It's
it was
also the fact that he thought Anakin was dead. I mean, he was basically told, "Oh yeah, he's still alive." Obi-Wan's panicking. He's terrified,
I thought
as any
Kenobi
human
was-
being would be.
Yeah, I thought that was a great show.
I think I think he was scared in that moment, but I think it was like also his main focus was he says to what was the girl's name? He's like, I'm gonna distract him so he can get away. And so I think that's why he kept stalling. I think it was like a stall tactic.
Mhm.
And he finally had to kind of confront
Kept
him.
trying to draw them away so Leia could get off the planet.
Yeah, I think of that fan edit that got pulled down and then put back up and then pulled down and then put back up. There was that edit added Qui-Gon's voice. You must train the boy. He is a chosen one. He hears that and then he runs off in the edit. So there's another avenue that you can look at it. But what you said, Craig, I mean, that's dead on. I mean, it was a diversion. I mean, Leia was there. I mean, you got to keep her in mind. And
Yeah, I think
it's
the main reason.
yeah.
He kept just going further and further away to just give her time.
Yeah, fans sometimes they don't realize it, but it's like they didn't take the time to think about the scenario and the situation, how it fits. And I spoke about it with a couple people at the Comic-Con in San Antonio that Lucasfilm has like an army of people that make sure stuff fits in canon and stuff works. So I'm never worried about breaking canon. They're always going to stay within canon. I might not understand it on the surface, but if you just simply think about it or just wait, you'll get the answers from whatever interview or book that happens, and you can kind of see. I mean,
And
there wasn't really a plan for the sequel, so to speak, but the story group makes sure that it fits and it's in canon, so I'm never worried about that.
And I know a lot of people, whenever Leia first met Obi-Wan, they were like, "Oh, they messed up the canon immediately," and I'm like, "No, they didn't." And they're like, "Oh, it's over." Like
Their own head canon, yes, that messed that up.
And
But
I was like, there's literally nothing wrong with this happening, and I just found that really funny how people, I don't know, they were like something so obvious. Like, do you think Disney would just be like, no one will know? It's like,
Well,
no,
there's
there's a
still
plan.
people. I would say there's still people who are holding on to the books and everything from the extended universe over the last 30 years and refusing to let that go. I think we all know at least one person who swears that, the story arc with the Han and Leia having their own twin kids and one of them being a Jedi and one of them being a Sith, and it's like, that's the real way it worked out. It's like, just, they're not worth arguing with.
Yeah.
I love it.
yeah. So simultaneously with the superhero car show and Comic-Con, C2E2 was happening in Chicago, and there was a big Star Wars presence.
The way C2E2.
Is that a droid?
Isn't that what it's called?
It is. It's one of the biggest
Yeah.
conventions in the Midwest. And like I mentioned before the show started, I've been trying to. The tables are ridiculously expensive for vendors, and Artist Alley is strictly print only. So crafters like me, we have to get vendor tables.
Hmm.
A couple of years ago, another vendor and I agreed to split a table. She went to sell on both of our behalves. She got there, they had oversold. So they tried to put her in the print Artist Alley as a way of saying sorry. And a lot of other artists threw a fit that a crafter was in the print Artist Alley. And she basically said, fine, just refund our table and we'll leave. Because we didn't want to start a scene.
Why would people care?
That's a avenue I'm not going to go down on. There's not enough time on this show to discuss the pride of so many artists.
But why would you care if somebody like is a crafter or a artist? You know what I mean? I don't understand why would that be a big deal.
Short version, there is, I don't want to say an animosity, but there is a stereotype for many artists that they look at the Comic-Con scene as a way to sell their comics, their prints, and then they look at people like me and I'm a professional jewelry maker, but they look at me and they're like, you put beads on a string and you take our spot. So I have been told off by a handful of comic book artists who think that I don't belong there.
Wow.
So,
Well, that's unfortunate.
mhm.
Yeah.
So what happened besides these fights? What else happened at
So yeah, C2E2, there's a big presence. Vivian Lyra Blair, the actress who played Leia in Obi-Wan Kenobi, she was there. She signed autographs. She looked like she was having a great time. But Rosario Dawson was also there. She was taking pictures. I have a picture with a random fan here, and she's there's no plexiglass, no mask. She's hugging people, which
God,
is
she's got a
great.
great smile.
Yeah, she's fantastic. I've loved her since Men in Black 2. And she did a panel where she basically said, I shouldn't tell you this, but I'm going to say it anyways. Dave Filoni watched an episode of Ahsoka, and I saw him come out the room. His eyes were very watery, and he turned to her and simply said, I think I just had a religious experience. And everyone in the crowd cheered. And
Wow.
Ahsoka will premiere right after The Mandalorian Season 3. And this is going to be the ultimate live-action Filoni show. I think they gave him like carte blanche to do anything he wanted, and he's doing the story that he's always wanted to do in live action. And we're getting the team back, the band back together from Rebels. It seems like, and again, we saw Hera, the back of Hera. We're getting Sabine,
Chopper.
so that's gonna lead to Chopper. Came out on stage, so yeah,
So
you
we're
can
probably
pencil him in.
Thrawn in it.
Mm-hmm.
Thrawn's probably gonna be their first live action appearance, possibly. I don't know. He might be in Mando season 3. I don't know. It all connects.
Do you guys think we'll have Luke?
In Ahsoka,
Yeah.
I could see maybe how Ahsoka was to Luke in the Book of Boba Fett. We're gonna get that with Luke to Ahsoka. Like he's gonna show up for just maybe an episode for a few minutes and he's gonna leave. Like I think she's gonna go to him for something and then that's it. Like I don't think we're gonna.
This is what I think. This is a little stereotypical, a little cliche, but maybe Luke shows up in that climactic event that Kathleen Kennedy talked about. Maybe a film, but we see Luke really going crazy with the green lightsaber at some point. At some point in a major battle or something. But to know that it seems like we're going to get live action Rebels, Chopper, the space whales, who knows, whatever.
I wonder how the audiences are going to take that. But
if we even get them at all, yeah. The Chiss.
What was really great at Celebration when he did the Tales of the Jedi panel afterwards.
That you attended, right?
That I attended, and it was awesome. It was so cool. After somebody in the crowd asked, "Where's Ezra?" really loud. Everybody started clapping and yelling, and he was like, "Well," he's like, "No, where's Ezra?" That's what they asked. Where's Ezra? And they're like, everybody's all yelling, and he goes like this. Okay, he goes, here's the thing that I know where he is. That's what Dave Filoni. He was like, I know where he is, and that's all y'all need to know. Like, I know what's happening. So I was like, oh man, but the way he said that with that smile on his face, like, I know so many things that y'all can't even imagine that's about to happen. So it was so cool. Well, speaking of Tales of the Jedi, there's a leaked picture that's been going around of Ahsoka at the funeral of Padme. Yeah, like people, we don't know if it's like real or not, but it kind of looks like the same artwork from Tales of the Jedi, and it's just a picture of her with her head down, but you could see that it's Ahsoka with a hood on, and they're like, that's at Padme's funeral. So we may get that somewhere in Tales of the Jedi. So that's all.
There's somebody on Twitter that had a lot of leaks about the story. And it was about a week ago when I was reading through them all. And it was about well, we know there's going to be Dooku, right?
Yeah, we got pictures of Dooku. Young
And
Dooku.
and there, I'll say I don't want to leak too much, but basically Mace Windu and Dooku had some episodes together.
That makes sense, though. I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be kind of a shame if they didn't do it, but I'm glad we get to see it. I'm glad we finally get to see some of this stuff happening. I wish I could tell you about that first episode of Tales that I don't want to tell y'all, but it was really great. It was so good, and I don't know, it just made it made everybody cheer. Like, that was how great it was.
When did that come out?
That it should come out September. Like,
Everything's coming out in September.
Like, I'm not even kidding. They were talking September, October for Tales of the Jedi.
I'm thinking Bad Batch, Tales of the Jedi is getting pushed back to something. I think we might get a bridge all the way to Mandalorian season 3 now.
Okay, that makes sense.
That would be cool.
I'm okay with Christmas Day Tales of the Jedi. Like,
ooh, that'd be great.
That'd be great.
And Lucasfilm needs to do that. Launch something on Christmas. I mean, come on. I mean, it's streaming. It's like they're giving us a Christmas present, you know?
Well, aren't we getting our Christmas present from Marvel this year?
Yeah, but that's Marvel. We're Star Wars. We want.
I'm talking about Disney making sure that one of their properties isn't competing with another one of their properties.
Right.
And let's face it. I mean, we are getting the James Gunn Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special this year, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Disney wants to make sure that nothing from Lucasfilm is going to compete with that.
Yeah.
Especially since we all know that Gunn is doing this specifically in an honorary form to the Star Wars holiday special, which he has confirmed he unironically enjoyed as a kid.
So what is the big Disney release this Christmas?
Let me take a look.
It was like Pinocchio or something?
Black Panther?
No, that's Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. What is the big thing this
year? Because
I'm taking a look.
Yeah, because Star Wars could technically release something.
Avatar 2.
Is that this Christmas?
That's this Christmas.
Okay, well then it's Avatar. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
James Cameron's latest tech demonstration. What? I'm not calling it a movie. That's what it is.
So Avatar and then Star Wars, Avatar, Star Wars, Avatar, Star Wars in perpetuity, probably.
Mm-hmm. But all I know is going back to Ahsoka, like I like you said, I think it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be massive. And
I think Ahsoka is gonna jump several levels in fandom. Like, people that had no idea who she was are gonna be like, yeah, I've seen those head tails on girls before. Even at the Comic-Con in San Antonio, there was a lot of Ahsoka cosplay.
And it's incredible to hear some people like, hey, who's your favorite Star Wars character? Ahsoka. And it's like, wow, that's amazing. Like, this
that's
like
incredible.
That's some people's favorite character of all time in Star Wars. And it's just exciting that we're going to be getting a whole show dedicated to that. Like, I'm beyond excited. Speaking of like holiday special, the Star Wars summer holiday whatever vacation thing came out. Did you watch it yet, David, or no?
Summer vacation. I haven't seen it yet. I know Colin was talking about it. He's seen it, and he'll probably break it down, give a thorough review on Wednesday of it.
It's cute. All right. And it's one of those things that you're kind of like, it's fun to think about what happens after episode 9. Like, that's what it is. It's like this little thing that happens, and you're gonna laugh. I'm not gonna give anything away, but they fly out and they land on the Halcyon, which a buddy of mine messaged me. She was like, "Oh, I'm done. I'm not watching this.
I'm out."
I was like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah." Like, why? I was like, "It's Disney. They have to be like, ooh, look at this. This is the Halcyon. You can go on it at Disney World, you know."
Gosh.
But yeah, it's fun. It's a fun show. I liked it.
And it's on Disney Plus right now, right?
Yeah, on Disney Plus.
Okay.
And it's, like I said, have fun.
Nice.
What else we got?
So yeah, anything else kind of drop while I was doing the whole car show and Comic-Con thing?
Nope. I saw that review today from Andor. Got me excited, and you saw it too. And I think that was like my big thing was going to be that, but then you talked about it, so hey, at least we got it out there for people to listen to.
Yep, September 21st. It's dropping, and it's gonna go all the way through almost December. So that should be a good time.
And yeah, you guys are right. December 16th is when Avatar 2 comes out. So
That's the big thing for Disney, and it's probably gonna make bank. Like this thing's gonna make so much money, and they know it. They know it. James Cameron knows it too. So
not
thanks Star
saying
Wars for James Cameron.
anything. I am not going to get on my rant about Avatar. Sorry, I really have a thing against that movie.
You have a thing against the papyrus font?
It was papyrus.
Well, my degree actually is in graphic design, so yeah, papyrus font does need to burn in hell, but that's beside the point.
So okay. Speaking of font and everything, one thing that kind of blew me away was the iconic Star Wars font. I don't know if this is true or not. The opening, this one. Actually, no, not this one. But hey, pretty cool. But the opening Star Wars thing. Apparently, Joe Johnston was the one who did that.
He designed it.
Yeah, they said they gave it to him, and then he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go like this, and then I'm gonna just stretch it, and then there we go." And
I've downloaded that font. I think it's called A New Hope. If you get it on defont.com.
That's awesome. And there's something on Final Cut Pro 10 that you can create your own opening crawl. And I wanted to do that for it because if you go on Patreon, hey, a little plug, I do my Galaxy's Edge adventures, and I wanted to put one on there, just this opening crawl of my day leading up to going to Galaxy's Edge. But it's like I can't type anything that great.
You ever seen the cosplayer dressed as the opening crawl? She's wearing a black dress, and
Yes.
she actually has the opening crawl on
Yeah.
it. It's really cool.
I think that dress was worn in Chicago 2019 celebration.
Yes, I saw her, and I
With
felt
your own
really weird.
eyes.
I felt really strange to be like, "Can I get a picture of you of your dress, please?" It was like I couldn't-
Cosplayers expect that kind of thing, but it's still polite of you to ask.
Yes.
for sure.
And then what else? But yeah, I've been enjoying going to Galaxy's Edge and documenting some of my things I do there. So it's a lot.
Yeah,
of fun.
for sure. Galaxy's Edge Adventures. On one of our tiers, you'll get that video exclusive from James and Colin. Colin shot some a while back, but he's doing Zabak Talk, and I have to upload those. But yeah, the videos that James does, he's an editor. I mean, he knows what he's doing,
Yeah,
and
thank
he takes you on an actual adventure through the park, eating, buying stuff. Essentially, what you're gonna do if you go to
yeah.
Galaxy's Edge.
Oh, and me-
Galaxy's Edge ride was a lot of fun. I got to jump ahead in the line because they got the singles. So it's like if you don't care where you're at and where you sit on the ride, you can jump ahead. So that was
only for Smuggler's Run, not for Rise of the Resistance, unfortunately.
yeah,
I had
Smuggler's Run. That was the one I did.
A lot of people used to come up to me like, "Hey, can I get on a single rider?" We're like, nope, back to the line. And yeah, I went early in the morning. Yeah, you just watch the video; it's great. And I'm probably gonna go again on Tuesday, and I'll record my adventure there as well. May eat at Docking Bay 7, so you just don't see me eating a Ronto wrap because those Ronto wraps are delicious. But yeah, I'll probably get like an actual meal there. But anyways,
Yeah, and I had no idea you could do breakfast Ronto wraps.
yeah,
so
you have to get there
that was
pretty
cool.
early, and it's delicious. It tastes as great as it looked. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, the Docking Bay 7 food tastes great too. I've done that several times, and it's pretty good. It looks unique, but it's all pretty tasty, as well as the drinks at Oga's too. I had a drink there that was like, wow, it shouldn't taste as good as it does, and it's just like.
But
I think Carl was looking up the ingredients, and it's like Powerade and like citrus, and it's like what? I was like, I wouldn't think to mix all that stuff up, but
oh, my wife has the Sims.
cookbook?
No, not the cookbook, but actually no, she doesn't have the cookbook, but she has the Sims game where you get to go to Galaxy's Edge.
oh wow,
on Batu, and then you're able to create your characters. And so she was like, "Hey, help me create a character." And I looked, and I was like, "Those are the costumes from freaking like from the park." So I was able to like go like, "Oh, those are the pants I wore. That's the shirt I wore."
Nice.
And then she was like, "Oh, I can go to Oga's Cantina." And sure enough, like you're able to like zoom in on the bar and like see all the stuff there on the bar and everything. And I was like, this is pretty cool, man. She told me I need to plug it in one day and record her playing it so I can show people like this is, I don't know. It's really cool.
I miss Galaxy's Edge so much. So
You know,
first time I walked underneath the Millennium Falcon, sent a picture to my parents, and I'm like, I'm in geek heaven. This is it. This is geek heaven. I am in heaven right now.
yeah, I was gonna say I've been frequently, even more frequently now, thinking about this whole kind of reality that we kind of live in on this podcast and being podcasters. It's like we can touch a lot of the things that were untouchable when we were kids, and
Yeah.
we see them and we know them and we've been there and we've seen that person in person, and it's like we pierced the veil or something. It's weird. I mean, like I saw Ewan McGregor today 2 times.
Yeah, today, like right now,
Yeah.
you saw Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, and he was like 30 miles away from my house.
That's crazy.
It's
I-
so weird.
I used to work at a place where I can go outside and look at the Millennium Falcon for like an hour a day, just stare at the ship. Yeah, people would ask me questions, but most of the time I was just looking at the Millennium Falcon. Like, it never got old looking at that ship.
Yeah, there's a picture of me, the Falcon
Yeah.
from last year.
That's
Awesome.
awesome. Fun story. I almost twisted my ankle. Because okay, Colin, don't get mad, but sometimes after hours you're able to walk around the Millennium, like underneath the Millennium Falcon, like right there. And I walked behind it, and I'm just looking up. There's like a little step, and I stepped, and my ankle almost twisted. And I almost fell down and almost hurt myself really bad. And I was like, how could I explain that? Like, so what'd you do?
Well, you could explain it on the podcast, James.
Exactly, and it was so funny. But yeah, I would always walk up and just reenact Han Solo looking up at the Falcon for the first time from Solo, and just stand there and just look straight up, and be like, "This is freaking awesome." I would tell you what's inside, but I don't want to get in trouble, so I don't want Colin to get mad. But anyways, was that it for the day? Did we do
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I just want to tell people, go out to Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars, write a review. Instagram, we're on Star Wars Stuff Podcast. Go ahead, James.
Speaking of reviews, somebody actually wrote us an email, and they remember you sent it to us.
Oh yeah.
They were like, "Hey, it's cool to like listen to a podcast that more or less likes Star Wars and doesn't trash on the sequel trilogy like a lot of these other podcasts." And certain somebody we know that's our nemesis, but we're not going to say who.
Our nemesis. We don't have a nemesis. I don't know why I'll say that.
It's just funny. I like it because Colin says it. Like, Colin just really gets upset. But yeah, that's what we kind of were proud of ourselves, and I still do. I still am proud of the podcast that we are a very positive Star Wars podcast. And we all have different opinions, but in the end, we all love Star Wars. And so, just want to say, if you want to leave us a comment, please leave us a comment. They're always nice to hear. Helps us kind of keep this thing going.
Definitely. Thank you for the email, Savannah. It was awesome to get, and we do appreciate emails. And of course, you can always email us at starwarstuffpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes,
we're there. We read them. A lot of these emails start off with, "I know you're never going to read this, but I just want to tell you."
No, trust us, we are going to read it. All right.
Trust me, we're not that big.
Yeah.
Yeah, what Alexa said.
Yeah, what she said. Email us at starwarstuffpodcast@gmail.com. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. And also, like we said, subscribe to our Patreon. And also, you have a plug as well, right? For your art, for your jewelry.
Yes. So, like I said, I'm a jewelry designer where I run Honeysuckle Rose Creations, where fashion meets fandom at the intersection of geek and chic. We do have a ton of Star Wars stuff. You can find us over on our Etsy shop. We're also on Handmade at Amazon, and you can always find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I also am a frequent collaborator on the Radulich Broadcasting Network. It's another podcast show. This week, we're going to be talking about Bullet Train, the latest movie that came out this weekend from Brad Pitt. I'm actually going to go see a matinee of that tomorrow before we discuss it. Looking forward to it. Other than that, we also just discussed DC League of Super Pets this last week. Had a lot of fun talking about that. We're getting ready to do our monthly trivia show. We unfortunately had to skip it last month because we got just a little too busy to schedule it. So If you are interested in participating, go ahead and hit us up. Again, that's the Radulich Broadcasting Network. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter. Let us know if you're interested in playing. So there you go, Mark. There's my shout out for the show.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you very much. And yeah, there's the link right there on there. So if you're on, and we'll put the link in the show notes as well. But
Nice.
yes, thank you so much for listening. And we'll be back with another awesome topic. And may the force be with you. Always.